Hello and welcome. My name is Lexi, Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury beauty. Today we have a few more items from the DIOR Spring Collection. So I already have a video up with a lot of items from the DIOR Spring Collection, including the new powder blush, the two new eye quints, and I had ordered some items from Selfridges. They were just a little delayed in arriving. So we also have both of the glow sticks. I have the Cherry Topaz lipstick, which is limited edition. By the way, these are limited edition, I believe, as well. And the lip maximizer in Opal 027. And this opal theme is kind of like one of the themes of this DIOR Spring Collection. It's sort of like there are two spring collections here. And let's start off with some swatches. So first up, we have the Rose Glow Stick in 725, which is this pink shade here. And I'm just going to build it up a bit so you can see this. So in demo 1, I use this as a blush. And in demo 2, I use it as a highlighter. So you can kind of see as a blush, it's a very, very soft, flush of pink. As a highlight, you can see it here. It's definitely a bit more pink. So it depends what you're going for. Then we also have Opal, which is right here. You can see it's white with more of a pink iridescence. I feel like in the photos, the Opal shade in all of the products looked more like they had a lavender hint to them. This is 005, by the way. But I think this one, it does have a little bit of blue and pink, but I still think I see more pink. Don't really see lavender per se. And then we also have the lip maximizer in 027 Opal, and they also have like a lip serum in Opal as well. You can see this one, the pink is more strong. And the lip maximizer, it's a minty plumping lip gloss. It does have kind of a fruity, floral, minty scent to it. So you can smell it. I can smell it after I put it on my lips. You kind of get used to it. The minty feeling stays for quite a while. And then if you go and you rub your lips together, it kind of refreshes that. So I do think that it adds a little plumping effect. And then we also have 565 Cherry Topaz, which is one of the limited edition satin lipsticks. So these are all of the new items that I've picked up. And then I have paired them with the Popeline Eye Quint in Demo 1 and Organza in Demo 2, which is what I have on now. And let's go ahead and move on to the demos, and then we'll come back and chat. All right, so we are going to start out with the DIOR Forever Skin Veil Primer, and I love this primer. I'm actually starting to get a little low on this, so I will have to replace it at some point, and it is something that I will buy it again. I use it more so during the cooler months. Anytime my skin feels dry, I think it's my favorite moisturizing primer. On the eyes, I'm using the Viseart Seamless eye primer, and just gonna put a little bit on the lids. And then we're gonna go ahead and test out the DIOR Forever. This is the new version of the Forever foundation. It is the one that is more clean ingredients. And I had actually requested samples because, you gotta select your samples. I requested it for the matte and for the skin glow, but I think both of the ones they sent me are both matte. So we'll see when we put it on. Honestly, they put both pictures of the bottles on the containers, and neither of these, this is the lightest shade in the packet, shade 1, but I think it's gonna be a little bit too deep for me, so we're gonna go a little light so it doesn't look too weird. I use the Kyoto F04 brush, and let's see how this goes on. All right, so here's the foundation. It's a little bit yellow and a little bit too dark, but it's not that bad. Like I can deal with it for a sample. But if I were to purchase this, I would definitely have to look into getting another shade. I don't typically buy DIOR foundations just because they usually run very yellow, and I have a very hard time getting a color match in them. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I can try to find one. I always hear very good things about the product itself. So let's go ahead and try out the new Stick Glow. And I picked up both of them. I picked up the Opal, which is the highlighter. So that's this one here. Let's go ahead and put this on my hand. There, so you can see it's going to be like a shimmery white. And when the light hits it a certain way, I see a little bit of like a pinkish tint to it, but not that much. And then the other shade is called Rose Glow, number 725. Now, I've never used any of the DIOR stick bombs before. So this is Rose Glow here in the middle. And I have to say, I thought it was more of a blush, but it's really light. It's more of a pink highlighter, which I guess from Stick Glow, that's what I should have thought of. But we're going to try to use this as a blush, a highlighting blush today. So let's start with the Rose Glow shade and see how this goes. All right, so I'm just going to put this on my skin. And wow, I can definitely get that deep enough for a blush. And I'm using the same brush I used for the foundation just to kind of pat that in, blend that out a little bit. All right, so here's that with one layer. Let's add a second layer and just see if I can build it up a bit more. Now, if I were using my fingers, it would build the color a little bit more than it is, but you know, I don't need that. There is a little stickiness to it. It's like a little balmy. So I really don't want to make it overly sticky on me. All right, so here's Rose Glow. I actually kind of like that as a blush. It's just a really light, natural blush. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of the Opal, and I'm just using the side of it here to just get a little bit. Just gonna put that right above the blush. Tap that in with my finger there. All right, so there it is. I have to say, you know, I can see where the two shades, you know, are separate, but they both produce so much light reflection when the light hits them that honestly, I can't really tell them apart too much. I'm not saying there's not a color difference, because there is, but when you actually apply the two of them adjacently like this, you don't really notice as much because you're just kind of noticing the sheen from the light reflection. I'm going to take the Popeline Quint, and this is the Sonji Classic Crease going into the brown shade here. And just going to add a little bit of this to the crease very softly. We're going to go with a very soft, light look today. And I mean, this palette in general is intended for light, soft looks. And I'm going to go into this pink up here at the top with the KZ6 from Chikuhodo. Just knock off some of that product. And just going to put this on the mobile lid. Just going to dab a little bit of the brown with the crease again right here in the outer corner and just kind of blend that in a touch. I'm going to take a little bit of the center shade with my finger, and this is a bit cooler, so I'm going to add that right to the center here. And then I'm going to take that KZ6 and just kind of stamp that in a little bit so it blends a little bit more with the pink, but you just get a little bit of light reflection. And then from there, I'm going to take the KZ6 just right here on the top, going into the Sparkle Shimmer Topper shade. Just going to try and get that in the inner corner. All right, and that's going to be it for the eyeshadow. I'm going to add some eyeliner. Let's see. I'm using the Chanel Stilo Ombre and Contour in 40 Beige Perle. This was one of their spring shades last year. It was limited edition, absolutely wonderful shade though. Just taking the KZ6 and just softly going over that. Gonna add some mascara and brow products. I'll see you in a second for her lips. All right, so this is the new DIOR Lip Maximizer in 027. This is the Opal shade. And to say, I thought it looked more lavender hued online. It actually looks white with pink iridescence the way the light hits it. So let's see how this goes. But I also have one of the lipsticks from this collection, so we might be taking this off and trying that today. So that's a very light layer. This is very fragrant. I haven't used DIOR Maximizers in quite a while. They do have mint. It's kind of like a fruity floral minty mix for the scent, but I can definitely smell it while putting it on. This is the shade Opal, and let's see how that swatches on my hand here as well. Let's see here. All right, so here it is. So you can see you get kind of that like pink reflection, but I'd say it actually reflects more pink than lavender. And I actually do really like it on the lips, you know, because it's something that is a little different than just clear, but it's easily something that you can easily top on top of any lip color to, you know, kind of either revive it or add something new. Formula wise, it's sticky. It's sticky, but it's not one that moves a lot. So yeah, I think it's gonna kind of stay on your lips for a while, mostly because it is so sticky. So let's take this off and put on the lipstick, and then perhaps we'll top the lipstick with this and see what the difference is. The lipstick I picked up is going to be in the shade 565 Cherry Topaz, which is in the satin formula, and it's a bright pink. So let's see how this swatches here. There it is, and let me build that up a little bit. Yeah, so you can see it's kind of like a pinky coral. I wouldn't say it's straight up pink. There's definitely some orange vibe to it, but it's still more pink than orange. Let me show you this from a distance. So here it is from a distance. And at first I was kind of like, I'm not sure about this color, but I kind of like it. It's a little different. You know, it has like a different tone than what I usually go for, but I like it for something different. I wouldn't say that I absolutely love it on me, but I can see this being a really pretty color on other people. I think the photo of the swatches and everything online make it look a little bit cooler in tone than it is in person, which is totally normal on the DIOR website for me. I feel like all of their lipsticks look cooler in their swatches than they do in person. So I would say this still follows that same trend. It is a little bit warmer, but I think it's an interesting shade. So I like it, and I think I still like the Rose Glow as a blush if you're going really minimal, but I think for the most part, I'll use it as a highlighter. Now, it has dried down a little bit on my cheeks. It's not as sticky as it was before. And again, I did kind of pat it out with my foundation brush, which helped, but there is still stickiness here. So it's not like your hair sticking to your face type of stickiness, but it's the type where you can feel like a little balm on it, more like what the Jones Road Miracle Balm feels like after you put that on your skin. So I feel like that's essentially what it looks like. And I do really like this light reflection that I'm getting from the Rose Glow and the Opal. I think that's really pretty. So yeah, you know, I think I probably will wear the Rose Glow like this once in a while, but for the most part, more so as a highlighter and pairing it with something like maybe one of the new Chanel Lip and Cheek cream blushes. So I'm gonna blot this, and then let's put the lip maximizer on top of this. All right, so I just blotted that down a little bit. We're going to take the lip maximizer and let's put this on. Try not to get my wand too dirty, so just dabbing it a little bit. All right, so you can see that definitely adds some shininess to it. And you get a little bit of light reflecting properties on here as well. And I do see a little hint of a pink and even a little bit more lavender now that it's on top of this shade. So I really like it together, actually. I think they go nicely together and I like that reflective quality. So I like the fact that it's not just clear. So yeah, I have to say, I think I like the lipstick and the lip gloss paired together more than I like them separately. But I think this lip gloss color, I really like. The formula for the lip maximizer, I think is okay. I'm not the biggest on minty lip glosses and so forth. Like, I like them, but I don't reach for them as often because a lot of times I don't want that, if that makes sense. So it's not that I have something against them. It's more so that I tend to just not use them as frequently. So I really like, yeah, I like the combo. So I hope this was helpful. We'll do another look tomorrow. Just to show you a close-up of the lips with the maximizer on top. All right, so yesterday I tried the Dior Forever foundation and it held up, it held up very nicely all day. The formula was very nice on my skin. I really liked the appearance of it. That particular shade, I used 1N neutral. It was just too dark. So in certain lighting, it looked like I could kind of get away with it. But as soon as I went into like daylight, natural lighting, it just looked too deep and yellow, kind of like I had a mask on. So I'm not going to use that again today. I do have the Dior Forever Skin Veil Primer on, and I'm actually going to go in with the new Chanel foundation, and this is shade BD01. I really like this foundation. I actually just ordered a full size because I've been using a sample. So I'm going to add this and I'm going to add the Chanel concealer and I'll see you in a second. Okay, so I added the Chanel foundation, concealer, and I have a light dusting of the Givenchy Prisme Libre powder in 11 sparkling lilac on. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to use the Dior 352 blush. This one is out for the spring collection. I'm using the Chikuhodo F03 brush. And we're just going to put a little bit of this on and we're going to use the blush sticks as highlight today. And you can see my nose is a little red and everything right now. I am freezing. Yeah, definitely cold. I had some ice cream while I was cold, which now made me even colder, but I can't resist. All right, so for the highlighters, let's start. We're gonna do the Rose Glow on one side, and I'm just using the edge of this, and this is the Westman Atelier Baby Blender. Just going to put that in here, and then we're going to do the Opal on the other side so you can kind of see how they both look. And let's just add a little bit more just with my finger right on top there. Now here's the Opal, and I did wipe off the brush, but we're going to use the same brush. And again, just a touch with my finger on top of that. That way I have like a more intense line that is thinner that I did with the brush. And then I have it kind of helps like blend out a little bit to have like a lighter, larger swatch around it. So we've got the Opal and the Rose Glow. Let me show you this from a distance. All right, so you can see the glisten from the highlight on both sides. I can definitely see more pink here with the Rose Glow side, and when the light hits it a certain way, you get that like pink iridescence to it, whereas the Opal, I get a touch of a softer pink iridescence when the light hits a certain way, but the base definitely has more of that whitish look to it. So these are the two as highlight. And yesterday we used the Rose Glow as kind of a blush. And the more I wore that, the more I liked that throughout the day. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Organza Quad. And I'm gonna start off with the Esom G34. I'm gonna go into this first shade here, this kind of a softer peach. And I'm just going to softly dust that in the crease. And I'm using a big brush so that I can kind of get a little bit of that kind of everywhere. I'm going to take the Omnia BOM 17, which is a much smaller crease brush. I'm going to go into this deepest shade. I'm just going to get a little bit of this on the tip and very softly deepen the crease with that. So just the actual indentation here. I'm taking the Sonia G worker brush from the Lotus set, and I'm going to go into the taupey shade here at the bottom, and I'm going to put this on the outer half. I really love this color, just for like a one and done. You can see that it is cooler in tone than a lot of the shades in this palette, so it's a nice complement, but for me it's also great on its own. And next I'm going to go into the gold, and I'm using the same brush. I'm putting this on the inner corner and just softly running that over to the, crossing the edge of the taupe. I'm going to take the BOM 17 again, just in the center shade. Just going to get a little bit here. This is just going to be for the inner corner, and it's just very light. It's not really going to add like a ton of shimmer or anything there, but I think the tone of it does help add a little bit of brightening, and I don't want it to be that noticeable, so use that. Yeah, I really think that helped open up my eyes a bit. For the lower lash line, I'm going to take the tip of the worker brush into the taupe and just going to softly put this underneath. Oh, let's go ahead and we're going to add a little gold on the inner half of that lash line also. All right, so that's my eye look for today. I'm going to add a brown eyeliner to this and mascara, do brows, then I'll meet you back here for lips. All right, so for lips, we're going to go ahead and take the Cherry Topaz lipstick. I'm going to dab this on so it's a very light stain, and then we're going to put on the lip maximizer. So here's Cherry Topaz, very, very lightly on, and you can see that pink iridescence a lot more now. I really like this color combination. So this is the final look from a distance. You can see this one has the Opal highlight compared to the Rose Glow. And between the two, on me, I think I prefer the Opal, but I like the Rose Glow. I think it would look better with maybe a different blush. I think it would be nice to have something a little bit more brown based as a blush, and then emphasize a little rosiness with the Rose Glow blush stick, or glow stick rather. So this actual shade of the DIOR powder blush from the spring collection, I have to say I do like it. I think it's a nice shade. I really like the combination of the Cherry Topaz lip and the lip maximizer. And I like both of them individually as well. I think the Opal maximizer is pretty clear. It's not something I'm gonna really wear on its own, but I like it for topping things to give it something a little different than just a sheen. And I'm still enjoying this Organza Quint. Okay, so let's start off by going over some swatches of other spring items that I use. This is the blush in 352. It is a limited edition shade. And let me add a second layer there, but you can see that it's kind of more of a peachy rose shade. And I think it's a really nice blush. I personally really like it. I have comparisons of that blush to other blushes in my original spring video, so check that out if you're interested. Same thing with comparisons for these eyeshadow quints, but let's swatch them here. This is 839 Popeline, and we start off with a topper shade. So these are the first three. And you can see that all of these shades are going to be pretty shimmery. The middle shade here is going to be your coolest tone pink. It almost has a little bit of like a lavender sheen to it, but it's definitely pink. And that's Porcelain. And then I also have the Organza, which is $7.19. Now this one doesn't have a topper, but you do have a gold shimmer. So these are the first three. You can see the middle shade is going to be a very soft peach. And these also, for the most part, have a sheen to the actual formula as well. But I would say that there's more of a sheen in the Porcelain because you do have a couple mattes here. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over a few comparisons. I have a few comparisons for the lip products. We're going to start off with the Guerlain number 61. And I'm just going to go ahead and put that right here so you can kind of see that. This one's going to be more pink, but it kind of has like a similar level of vibrancy. You know, these are kind of almost like a little bit of like neon look in them. You know, if you look at like one of the neon Crayola crayons or something like that, this is more pink. This one's more coral. And then we also have, again, these colors are not going to quite go. This is Givenchy Sparkling Lily, which is going to be more orange. But I also have the pink one, which if you mix the two of these together, you know, it's kind of more of a similar shade. So the pink one is Sparkling Peony, and you can see that it's kind of this bright pink. So if you mix the two of those together, you kind of get a little bit more of the DIOR shade there. There's definitely more oranginess to the DIOR than pink, so it's not completely a balanced look. And then we have 52 Coral Aqua from Hermes. Sorry. And then this is one of my favorite summer shades. I'm just going to put this right underneath it too, so you can see how close they are. And, you know, there's definitely some similarity there. Again, the DIOR is just, it has a little bit more of that brighter orange in there, like a little bit more of that like neon vibe compared to the Hermes. And the last lipstick I have is one of the Burberry Kisses in 44 Rebellious Rose. And well, let's put it right here. You can see, I'll put it right here next to the Hermes too. So you can see that they are actually kind of close. The DIOR has more of a sheen to it than the Rebellious Rose, but tonally, I think these are probably the closest. The Rebellious Rose is slightly more pink, but I think they're pretty close. Now, for the Lip Maximizer, I don't have a ton of products like that, but it brought to mind a couple Pat McGrath lip glosses. So this is one of the Opulist glosses in Lavendering. And I have to say, I thought it was going to be more like this. This is Lavendering. You can see this is much more purple. It's much more like metallic. And I thought that the DIOR was going to have more of this hue as its reflection versus the pink. I didn't think it was going to be like so metallic. I thought it'd be a more subdued version. But and then we also have one of the Lush glosses in Alien Angelic. And let's put that one right there. So here's Alien Angelic. And I think color-wise, the DIOR gloss is more like the Alien Angelic, but it's more subdued. So you've got, but the same tone of pink is the tone that you get when the light hits the DIOR just the right way. Now, as for the glow sticks, I don't have anything quite like them. This is the Surratt Rose Diamante. It is not going to be like sheeny and glistening like this, but I just wanted to show you because it is a pink stick and you can see how much more pink the DIOR is. This is the Surratt. You can see the Surratt is much more subdued and it's shimmery instead of sheeny. So that's the difference there. We also have the Rituel de Fille This is the Cream Luminizer in Ice Bow, and this has a little bit of a reflection in it as well. So I'm going to put this right here in between the two. You can see that it's got a little bit, it's got a pink reflect in there too, but it's also got more golden tones comparatively. I wouldn't say it's golden in tone, but more so than Opal or Rose Glow. And then the Opal one, the highlight it reminded me of the most is actually the Westman Atelier Lit Up Highlighting Stick. So I'm going to put this right here, right in the middle. So you can see here's Lit Up right here versus Opal. The Opal is more pink iridescence, whereas the Lit Up has some pink and some blue. So it's actually a little bit more, it's a little bit softer in color as well. Like I think the pink reflect is a bit of a deeper pink compared to the Opal, but you know, they're kind of close. So just something to note there if you have the Lit Up highlighting stick. I do think the DIOR just tends to look a little bit like, I don't know, I feel like it looks a little bit more vibrant on my skin compared to the Westman Atelier, which looks more clear. Like you don't see the reflect necessarily as much unless you pile it on, whereas the DIOR, the reflect's more evident even with less, if that makes sense. And then the last one I wanted to compare to is the Westman Atelier. This is the Super Loaded Tinted Highlighter in Peau de Rosé. So I wanted to compare that to the Pink Rose Glow here. You can see that the Westman Atelier is going to be a warmer pink, but this is a shade that I can use as blush. You can also use it as highlighter. And that's kind of why I wanted to compare these, because for me, they're going to have a pretty similar purpose in my collection. But the DIOR is going to be cooler in tone. Texturally, if you put on just a little bit like I did in today's demo, they almost dry down. I'd say about 95% dry down. Like I can feel a little tackiness where I have the product, but it's not sticky to the point where something's going to stick to it. I can just tell that it's there, if that makes sense. But I really do like the way that these look on my skin. And overall, I'd have to say that they are nice products. These are the first DIOR glow sticks that I have purchased, so I don't have any previous ones to compare them to. I like the formula, just like I like the formula of the Westman Atelier, but I just don't love these. And I think it's just because I think I prefer them to dry down more completely than they do. And yeah, so I do really like them. I'm happy I bought them and I will use them, but they aren't going to be like an everyday kind of product for me. So I think I'll use them more during the spring and the summer when I'm going for like light, dewy makeup looks. And I'm really going to enjoy the Rose Glow as a blush during that time when I'm, you know, that's usually when I'm more in the mood for more minimal makeup. And I think, yeah, I think I'll probably use the Rose Glow as blush, but maybe, you know, maybe I'll put some powder blush or something underneath it sometimes and so forth, so that I get a little bit more color from it as well. So that's it for the blush sticks. As for the lip products, you know, the Cherry Topaz is a shade that's kind of unique to me. I mean, obviously you can see I've got some that are similar, but I really like the way that it looks today with that lighter application, the gloss on top, and that like a little bit of that orange vibrancy is more unique, very summery to me. I have to say I am happy with both of the lip shades I picked up. Although the Opal Lip Maximizer isn't what I expected, I think it's going to be something that I end up using a lot, and I'll probably use up that tube. So I can see myself topping things with this Lip Maximizer all spring and summer. So I wouldn't be surprised if I use this up. The lipstick, you know, again, it does read spring and summer to me. And I think it's going to be something that will probably end up in my rotation for those months. And I think I prefer it more lightly applied for the most part, but I did like it more vibrant as well. So overall, I think these are really nice products. And as for these items, I will have an update on all of the spring items that I've been picking up. Still really enjoying this powder blush. I really am enjoying both of the quints. If I had to pick one though, I prefer the organza over the popeline. I just think it's really great kind of peachy neutrals, which a lot of companies have been coming out with more of these like peachy neutral quads and so forth. For example, the new Chanel quad I think is pretty similar, and I do have a comparison of that in my Chanel Spring Summer 2021 video. I just like the organza one better than the Chanel one. So that's kind of where I am on that. I just think this one was done really, really well. So out of the spring eyeshadow palettes that I've picked up so far, organza's in the lead currently. So we've got more to go through, but I think let's just look at one more thing real quickly. Although this isn't quite going to match anything, I did want to kind of compare these. So this is the blush. This is the Burberry Iconic Face and Eye palette. So I wanted to show you how they compare. The blush in the Burberry is more peach, less rose. It also comes with a highlighter, which is a little deep for me. I'm just going to squeeze that in right there. But you can see that it is going to be a soft golden highlight. And then I just wanted to swatch this quad. Now I think the quad is unique, but the taupey tones, you know, it's a little reminiscent of the organza color story, just different. Like I don't think they're similar enough to consider them dupes, or well, obviously not even close, but just the fact having these colors here remind me of this color story. It's just that these are much deeper. So just wanted to add that in as a comparison for anybody who is looking and considering those. And I hope this video was helpful. So please let me know what you think. And if you have any additional comparison requests, please let me know and I'll put that in my follow-up video next week. And thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day. Stay safe and healthy.